that beautiful amount of flavor that pops in your mouth. Do you know how you're going to get it? Those of you who love steak, this is going to be truly irresistible for you. I'm going to show you how to get a restaurant quality steak sandwich from here into your mouth. It's going to leave you salivating. And let me tell you a little secret. Come on in. I actually am not allowed to cook beef in the house. My wife is thoroughly against it. I just say lamb sandwich. It works every time. Here we got herb butter sirloin steaks. The sirloin is a great cut for a sandwich. You want to make sure you use a sirloin. Use a prime cut for this. And when I mean prime cut, is your sirloins, your ribeyes, and your tenderloin. I wouldn't use a tenderloin for this because I want some fat, and fat equals flavor. These sirloin steaks are marinated with unsalted butter, thyme, dried rosemary, fresh thyme, dried thyme, garlic powder, pinch of paprika, and Himalayan good old pink salt. I'm going to take a back of a knife and I'm just going to tenderize this a little bit. And what's happening is I'm breaking up the fibers. I'm making sure that the fibers are spreading out so that when I cook, these fibers are going to relax and give me a very nice, juicy, tender steak. So now I'm going to cut these buns, run the knife lightly here and try to get it even and move it around. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add this beautiful Café de Paris butter made by Sue. This is basically a pesto butter, and this butter is going to add so much flavor. 1.5 teaspoons. You're not going to put too much. Remember, you're building an Italian style sandwich. I hope I'm doing justice here to your Italians who are watching this. And if you have any feedback of how to make it or how you want to make it or what's your version of it, please feel free to share. Now we're going to cook the Momotaro tomato. This is grown in Cameron Island. It's a gorgeous tomato. It's like a fruit tomato. So it's not very acidic. It has a nice sweetness. Take off the top a little bit. Look at the tomato, the juice that it holds, the texture, the molecular structure. This is what makes me go crazy about food, you know. Next, we're going with buffalo mozzarella. In the brine, it's already got a little bit of salt. Now we're just going to add and help it a little bit. So what we're going to do, we're going to slice this the same. Look at the tomato slices. We're going to slice it just, look, it's going like butter. It's slicing like butter. And we don't want to melt all this. It's not a melty cheese. You want to taste the texture. Don't think American steak sandwich. That's different on its own. It's so succulent, so juicy. My God. We've got the tomato. We've got the fresh mozzarella. We've got some beautiful basil here. Hydroponic basil is good because there's no chemicals grown on it. It's grown indoors and it's got the right nutrition. So the basil leaf has the tender care and love that it needs. Like a little baby. Hydroponic is really good. Toast this, and I'm talking 10 seconds. I want the bread to be soft and springy, not crunchy. Soft, springy bread. Just add a bit of water on the side. So what it does, it creates a little bit of steam that softens the bread. You can also pop this in the microwave for 10 seconds. And as you realize, there's so much fat on this sirloin. I purposely want it this way because I want the fat, the flavor inside here. I'm going to put a little bit of oil, get the fat melting there. And can you hear that sizzle? We want the steak to cook in its own fat. That's what we're going for. So we're going to hold that for a while. I'm going to crank up the heat quite high to let the fat melt. Immerse yourself in the experience. Immerse yourself in the sizzle. Now the fat is nice and burnt. We flip it on the other side. That's what we want. So now we're going to cook it about 2 minutes. 2 minutes per side. And this one you want to do it on high fire. So this is high heat because you want all that flavor. Remember, don't overcrowd the pan, because when you overcrowd the pan, the temperature drops and then your steak boils rather than sizzling. You want to get seared steak because the searing causes the caramelization and that gets you flavor. Look, you know what my job is here? I want to teach you how to get the best flavor you can from your home. How can you maximize what you're buying? I mean, you're already paying good money for good ingredients. But how do you get the best out of it? That's all I'm here to do. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. It's amazing. And with steak, you don't want to toss it. You know, you're not doing stir fry when you're tossing stuff. You know, what you're doing is you're letting it cook. You can literally stand here and watch it. If that keeps you from not doing anything, stand here and watch the steak. If that's what you need to, watch it and let it be. Let it cook. Let it cook. Oh my God, look at that. Look at that. Look look at that caramelization. That oil is not from any oil that I put in. That oil is from the fat. So right now I'm touching the steak. I don't want to overcook it because when you overcook beef, you're not going to get the right flavor. Oh my God, can you see that? Oh my God, the butter caramelized, the herbs, the rosemary, the thyme, it's all there, it's all there. I mean, we're going to let the steak rest a little bit because the juices are inside, and if you cut it too open, it falls outside and it doesn't go into your mouth. So we got to let the steak rest. How long do you rest a steak for? You rest a steak for half the time you cooked it for. So if you cooked it for 5 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Cook it for 10 minutes, 5 minutes. That's it. 1.5 minutes aside on very high heat would give you about a medium rare if it's a 200 gram steak. So at an angle, use your fingers, crouch them in at an angle. You're going to be slicing this. And remember, your knife needs to be sharp. Look at that, guys. Look at that. Look at that. That's what we want. The juice is just there. It's just there. Oh my God. How often do you get to eat a restaurant quality steak sandwich at home? And I tell you, I'm just immersing myself in this. And you don't need to season it because there's so much layering of flavor that we're gonna do. I'm just gonna start with a small layer, a little layer of these onions. I'm gonna put this gorgeous tomato. So I'm only gonna put 2 to help the tomato go along. I'm gonna put rosemary salt. It's so nice, it's so natural. I'm just gonna put a little bit of rosemary salt on top. You know what I do when I use salt? I have a lot of fun with salt. I like to throw it from afar. You know, that's what I like to do. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the mozzarella. Here we're gonna do 3 mozzarellas. Layer the flavor. Rosemary salt, 1 more round, little bit. Pinch of pepper, little bit of olive oil, little bit, tiny bit. Put some basil on it. And you're gonna see the layering because we're gonna slice it after this. You wanna build the steak and you want it medium rare. I've built that steak. Can you see all the redness on it? Can you see all that redness? Take the juices from the board. All this is flavor. All this is flavor. So now we're gonna close this with this Café de Paris pesto butter, and we're gonna crown it like that. And you can make some fries with this and add the rosemary salt on top. Once you slice it, then you just want to take it up. I want you to see that. This is what we're gonna enjoy. A nice, beautiful Italian steak sandwich. Can you see all of that layers? All the moments you had together cooking it, and then you're gonna just enjoy it in one bite. Guys, you gotta try this. You get the freshness from the tomato. Everything is layered in flavor. The basil, the Café de Paris, the bun, the tomato, the mozzarella. It's got all that flavor. It's got the tartness from the tomato, the herbaceousness from the basil, the smoky caramelized beef. It's got all that flavor layering up. Treat your food with respect. Know where it comes from. Cook it well and give it the best that it deserves. And give yourself the best it deserves. See you again. Navin Karu, Food Revolution, signing out.